Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Raw results and WWE main event. Birthdays: January 5th, Paul Shot. He was born 1979. January 6th, Miss Jacqueline. Conan, he was born 1964. January 7th, C.W. Anderson. January 8th, Bushwhacker Luke. He was born 1947. Jim Neidhart, he was born 1956. The Masterpiece, Chris Masters. He was born 1983. New trailer for John Cena and Leslie Mann. Blockers can be found at this link. The movie hits theaters on April 6th. Also noted, 3 episodes of WWE NXT were taped on last Thursday night's center stage in Atlanta, the former home of WCW. Saturday night. NXT will return for 2 more sets of tapings in center stage on Thursday, February 1st, and Friday, February 2nd. And here, show you some photos of the arena, if you can remember WCW Saturday night. Was fans in the arena? Well, it's now NXT arena. One of them. Fan photos, tapings, and a bit closer to the action than usual. Noted how WWE has been working on a reality TV show for The Miz and wife Maurice, which would follow their lives in Los Angeles on the road with WWE. The show would feature appearances by real-life friends Dolph Ziggler and singer Ryan Cabrera, as well as some of Maurice's family members. Miz confirmed on Raw that the show will be airing on the USA Network sometime this year. Miz and Maurice to star in new USA Network unscripted show, and the name of the show is called Miz and Mrs. Mae Young Classic competitor and former member of Straight Edge Society, Serena Deeb, could be heading back to the company. She was, apparently according to PW Insider, was spotted in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania earlier today, and that is where WWE sends talent for medical testing before offering them a contract. Following the Mae Young Classic tournament, Deeb was one of the names in the pool of competitors that were on WWE's radar. The last time Deeb was seen, as mentioned above in the Classic, can be found in this link, where she lost to Piper Niven in the second round. Also, the Straight Edge segment, I'll post that as well. If you don't remember her, CM Punk, Luke Gallows, now you know, Straight Edge Society. And she got her head shaved, if you don't remember that. But if you don't know, you better call me. During a recent edition of the School of Morton podcast, hosted by Hall of Famer Ricky Morton, One Man Gang joined the show and commented during the podcast. One Man Gang spoke on a time where he had an experience with WWE legend Andre the Giant that let him know how good of a person the Giant was. Check it out. Here's what he said. One Man Gang. I went out in the ring, and this is Andre the Giant. So every time he hits me, I'm flying all over the place. After the match, he calls me back and sits me down, and he said, "Boss, I'm already over. I came in here to get you over. I don't want you flying around like that. I want you to have a regular match with you." I was kind of like, this is Andre the Giant. He doesn't have to do that. Rey Mysterio could be finally making his Impact Wrestling debut soon. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, rumors are that Rey talking with Impact go as far as the summer back last year, 2017. Impact officials are trying to get Mysterio signed for the tapings that begin this week in Orlando. But, at last word, there was no deal. There are talks still happening between the two sides. It was reported back in the summer that Rey was entertaining offers from WWE and GFW / Impact. The talks with WWE fell through, and the last top U.S. promotion Rey worked for was Lucha Underground. Rey told ESPN in December that he's not currently signed to any deal. I am not locked up to any company, Mysterio said. I'm an independent contractor, as we say. I could go work wherever I want. That's the beautiful thing about being on this side of the fence. You don't have a commitment to with only one company. You can go around and pretty much wrestle wherever you want. You can choose when you want your off days to be. That was one of my priorities when I left WWE. Was truly blessed this past year, 2017, first and foremost, for having the most amazing, supportive, and lovable partner that I have as wife, Angie, at 619 Reina. If you want to follow her, follow her. There you go. On Twitter, that is. Later throughout the year, was on the roster of Lucha Underground, and I was picked up at Netflix. I became the face, aka Latin ambassador of the best casino in the 619 at Saquon_casino, and had a huge mask as a billboard put up off the I-5 as soon as you cross the San Isidro International Border. Had my handprints inducted into the Plaza Las Estrellas in Mexico City. Became part of the at Nutrition Solutions family and started to train with my good homie at Chris Cavallini, and became more aware of my nutrition and started some intense workouts. Also became a sponsor athlete by one of the dopest wrestling clothing lines out there right now at Suplex Wrestling. Last but not least, to close the year, I became heavyweight champion at the Crash Luchas in Tijuana, defeating none other than three of the best Mexican wrestlers right now at La Mascara Alva, at Rush_Ignorable, Ingobernable, and at Penta_Zero at Medio. A title that means more than what you think. This title was inspired and designed to pay tribute, respect, to two of the greatest wrestlers, friends and brothers, Eddie Guerrero, Hijo del Perro. There was no other way out in the match for me than a W. Thank you, Lord, for always keeping me on my toes, for granting me my health and the ability to perform worldwide the way I do for all my fans. A very big thank you to all my fans for your loyalty and unconditional support. I wish you all the best and blessings for this upcoming year. And I almost forgot to thank my sister-in-law for helping me with my Facebook page at Rey Mysterio and all the collages she put together for me to post. Hashtag gracias, Misha. Hashtag amu. Hashtag much love to all. Hashtag Happy New Year. Hashtag the best in 2018 for all. WWE Cruiserweight Champion Enzo Amore retained his title over Cedric Alexander on this week's Raw, but lost the match by countout. Enzo suffered a minor injury above his eye and needed stitches to close it. As seen in the follow-up video at this link, you can see him patching up the eye. Well, this next news was advertised for the Raw 25th anniversary will be 5 hours at official TCA. This one, boss couple at Steph McMahon and at Triple H gave us a sneak peek at January 22nd, hashtag Raw 25. Cameos and matches are still coming together, but the 5-hour event promises to be one for the history books. Dave Meltzer, at Dave Meltzer WON, the 5-hour Raw story on the 22nd is inaccurate. Raw will be still only 3 hours on that night. Check that again, Dave Meltzer. Since it goes over about 8 minutes, so it's 3 hours, 8 minutes. Get it right. This week is WWE Week on Nickelodeon's Paradise Run game show. SmackDown Tag Team Champions Usos, Naomi, Bayley, Callisto, and Apollo Crews can be found in this link. And this is a preview of the show. Squared Circle Sirens is reporting that independent wrestler Su Yung, real name Vanera Riggs, scheduled to appear at an upcoming set of Impact Wrestling tapings. It could come as early as this week as TV tapings take place through tomorrow through Monday in Orlando, Florida. So it's going to be another 3 months of tapings. Young has worked for Impact Wrestling in the past as she wrestled Taryn Terrell at one night only Knockouts Knockdown in 2015. Young was in the news last month following a domestic violence incident with her husband, WWE star Rich Swann. On December 10th, 2017, Swann got arrested in Gainesville, Florida on charges of domestic battery and false imprisonment. Swann remains suspended by WWE since the arrest. As the company said in a statement, WWE has zero tolerance for matters involving domestic violence. Impact Wrestling has released a new Laurel Van Ness t-shirt. By the way, in the latest edition of the question mark can be found at this link. Impact Wrestling stars got asked to pick one person on the roster to live with in a tiny house. And WWE taped your spoilers from Memphis for your WWE main event. Akira Tozawa and Mustafa Ali defeated Ariya Daivari and Drew Gulak. Alicia Fox defeated Dana Brooke. Raw opened up with a look back at last week's Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns match. Live from the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee, we got Michael Cole welcoming us to the show. Also joined in by Corey Graves and chiming in, five-time WCW champion, Booker T. We go right to the ring, and out comes Intercontinental Champion Roman Reigns. Reigns talks about how he's silenced Samoa Joe to retain the title last week. Fans are already giving Reigns a what treatment. He goes on and brings up Dean Ambrose, saying, you mess with the entire unit of the Shield. If you mess with one of his brothers, he goes on, but the music interrupts. Out comes Raw Tag Team Champion Jason Jordan to mostly booze. Jordan says he got goosebumps when rewatching the match with Joe last week because he felt like he was a part of something meaningful. Jordan agrees with Reigns that you mess with all of them if you mess with one. Jordan says Reigns proved that this is his yard, baby. Jordan thanks Reigns on behalf of he and his partner, Seth Rollins. The Who's Your Daddy chant starts up for the crowd until music hits. Out comes the other half of the tag team champions, Rollins. Rollins appreciates what Jordan is trying to do here, but still has a lot to learn. Rollins says that they're really going to have to work on Jordan's timing. Rollins knows Jordan means well, but he's kind of stepping on Reigns' moment. Jordan says this is all of their moment. Jordan goes on about how they're all champions and they're all run the show. Now, Reigns says enough of this we stuff. Jordan teams up with Seth, and Reigns is the guy. Jordan goes on and admits that they're not the Shield, but they're pretty good. Maybe the most dominant three-man group in all of WWE. Fans boo. Jordan some more. Music interrupts. Out comes Finn Balor, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. The Balor Club. Balor knows Jordan is excited to be out here, but he can't really believe it. He's part of the most dominant three-man group in WWE. Balor says he's been running with Gallows and Anderson for 10 years before Jordan even knew that Kurt Angle was his dad. The Who's Your Daddy? The chant starts up again for the crowd. Anderson and Gallows also chime in as the club is in the ring now. This leads to Balor calling Jordan a nerd. Not only him calling him nerd, also Gallows calls him nerd. Jordan bucks and looks like he wants to fight, but they hold him back. Raw general manager comes out and says, it looks like they just found his main event for tonight. Angle makes the match out, and his music hits as the two teams face off in the ring. Still to come segment, Universal Champion Brock Lesnar is here. Also, The Miz returns for a special edition of Miz TV. We see Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Mickie James headed to the ring for a match with the Absolution. We go to commercial. Paige is still not being cleared to wrestle, so she's manager tonight. Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. Back from the break, Bayley is out with Sasha Banks and Mickie James. We see a replay of Stephanie McMahon's Women's Rumble announcement. Absolution was out next as Paige, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville hit the ring. Mandy starts off with Bayley and gets the upper hand while talking some trash. Mandy keeps control and takes Bayley to the corner with more offense. Mandy scoop slams Bayley and covers for a 2 count. And tries again for another, gets a 2 count. Mandy keeps Bailey grounded. Bailey finally fights back and hits a suplex. Bailey looks to make a comeback, but Paige and DeVille pull Rose to safety as we go to commercial. Back from the commercial, Mandy goes at it with Sasha. Paige and Mickey cheer their teams on from ringside. Mandy talks more trash and works Sasha over, but Sasha fires back and nails her for a pop. Sasha knocks DeVille off the apron, but turns around to a big knee from Mandy for a 2 count. DeVille tags in and keeps control of Sasha, unloading on her with body shots. Rose tags back in and works Sasha over near the corner as Bailey waits for a tag. Mandy stops Sasha from tagging and knocks Bailey off the apron. DeVille gets a cheap shot in while the referees were distracted by Bailey. Sasha rolls Mandy up, but DeVille breaks up the pinfall. DeVille gets knocked off the apron by Bailey. Rose keeps control of Sasha in the ring. Sasha with a back statement in the middle of the ring. Rose taps for the finish. After the match, Absolution recovers as the babyface celebrate. Still to come, the club versus Reigns, Rollins, and Jordan. Match commercial. Back from the break, we see Brock Lesnar and Kane brawling from last week. Lesnar will hear to respond later. Cedric Alexander is backstage warming up when Goldust appears to give him some words of encouragement for his title shot. Goldust says he believes in Cedric. The announcers promote Mixed Match Challenge and shows us how Goldust introduced to his partner earlier, Alicia Fox. Matt Hardy versus Kurt Hawkins was up next. We go to the ring. Out comes Matt Hardy for his official Woken in-ring debut. He has a new theme song. We go to commercial. Back from the break, we get a video from earlier. My feed was off and on throughout the event, with Matt announcing himself for the Rumble. They lock up and go at it. Matt gets in some biting while the referee isn't looking. Matt with more offense and running a shot into the corner. Hawkins ends up going to the top but missing a crossbody. Matt slams Hawkins' head into the turnbuckle over and over as the Woken Warriors do the delete chant. Matt keeps control and ends up hitting the Twist of Fate. After more offense, Matt covers for the pinfall. After the match, the graphic hits and Bray Wyatt appears in the ring. Matt meets him in the middle of the ring and they stare each other down. Just to stare down. They both start laughing at each other, and now that's how the segment ends. Still to come, a special edition of Miz TV back commercial. Back from the break, we get Elias in the ring with a spotlight and his guitar. JoJo introduces him. Elias sings and taunts the Memphis crowd, mentioning Elvis. Elias starts another song, which ends up being a grand entrance for The Miz. The Miz music hits, and out he comes for his return to WWE TV. Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel were with him for a special edition of Miz TV. Fan chat welcome back as Miz takes the mic and asks if everyone missed him. They pop. Miz welcomes us to Miz TV and says he's been away filming the Marine 6 and visiting troops overseas for the holidays. Miz says he has not been forgotten and thanks two people who just happened to be his guests for tonight, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, the Miztourage. Miz praises Axel and Dallas for turning their careers around in 2017. Axel says 2017 was the best year of his life as everybody felt like Mizmas. Dallas says it was like winning the Mizzies every single day. Dallas gets in a thank you Miz chant going. Some fans join in. Dallas presents Miz with a framed photo of Miz. Dallas says it will be hard to fall asleep without that tonight. Axel wants to show Dallas up. He gives Miz his own jacket, calling it a brand new sports coat. Dallas needs to one-up that. He has a watch for Miz off his own wrist. Axel gives Miz his shoes next. Miz shuts him up and tells him to sit down. Miz says 2017 was a big year for him, but he has a lot more planned. He brags on his WWE Intercontinental title reign and says he has elevated Dallas, Axel, Raw, and SmackDown. Miz says everything he has touched turned to gold, and he was even named Rolling Stones Wrestler of the Year. But he's not going to forget about this. We see a replay from 2 months ago where he was laid out by the Shield and put through an announce table. Miz rants and says he's allowed Reigns to borrow his Intercontinental title because he wants the title to be defended while he was away filming the movie, but clearly the title doesn't make the man. Miz says in 2018 he will celebrate the birth of his daughter and he will become the longest reigning single greatest IC champion of all time. Miz says he hopes Reigns enjoys his time in the spotlight that Miz allowed him to have, but it is all coming to an end. Miz declares that he is back, he is coming for his title, and Reigns can believe that. Miz drops the mic, as his music hits, he leaves the ring with the Mysteroids right behind him. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows backstage telling stories about Japan, but Finn Balor says reminiscing is great, but it's time to talk strategy. Balor goes on and tells them to keep their eyes open and feet moving. Balor also mentions 2018 being the year of the Balor Club. They do the too sweet gesture to end the segment. Still to come segment, Cedric Alexander finally gets his title shot from Enzo Amore back to commercial. Cruiserweight title match, Cedric Alexander versus Enzo Amore. Back for the break, Cruiserweight champion Enzo Amore out for his promo. He talks about being sick on New Year's Day and in the hospital, unable to compete. He thanks Nia Jax for bringing him some chicken noodle soup. He goes on about Cedric Alexander and saying teaming with Goldust is the closest Cedric will get to gold in 2018. Cedric is also out as we get the belt. Cedric takes control early on and nails a big kick. We see Nia backstage watching as he looks concerned. She looks concerned. Enzo ends up turning it around and sending Cedric to the floor, landing hard. We go to commercial with Enzo in control, standing tall. Back for the break, we see how Enzo turned it around, and during the break, by using the referee, Enzo unloaded with more offense, and Nia backstage watching again. And Enzo keeps Cedric grounded and beats on him. Enzo with a basement drop kick for a 2 count. Enzo then avoided some strikes and keeps Cedric down. Cedric ended up backing Enzo into the corner, but Cedric ran into a knee. Cedric managed to nail a drop kick to knock Enzo out of mid-move. Cedric with more offense and a big head spring into a kick to the face. Cedric still can't get the pinfall. Enzo fights out of a move with elbows, but Cedric nails another kick to the head. Cedric springboards in with a flying clothesline, but Enzo goes to the floor to avoid the pin. Cedric runs the ropes and nails a big dive on the floor. Enzo clutches his ankle and sells an injury. A trainer is out to check on Enzo as the referee counts. Cedric makes it back in at the 9 count. Enzo is holding on to the apron, but he can't make it in. And he gets counted out. The winner by count out, Cedric Alexander. But everybody knows that you can't win the title on a count out. After the match, Cedric was announced as the winner, but Enzo retains. We see Nia backstage watching his trainers trying to check on Enzo at ringside. Cedric stood tall as his music hits. As we go to replays, Enzo struggles to get to his feet as Cedric celebrated. Still to come, Balor Club versus Reigns, Rollins and Jordan back to commercial. Back from the break, Enzo is being checked on backstage. The trainer says he will undergo x-rays and a possible MRI. Nia Jax appears and Enzo thanks her. He tries to play tough guy, but he's in pain. To end that segment. Kurt Angle backstage on the phone with a mystery woman. A surprise entrant for the Women's Rumble match. Angle says that they haven't been in the ring in years, but he thought someone of her caliber would be great for the Rumble. The Bar walked in, and as Angle says, he will call the mystery woman back. Probably Lita. Cesaro and Sheamus want their Raw Tag Team title rematch. Angle books it for the Rumble. They also want some competition tonight, and Angle sends them to the ring. Miz walks in and confirms that he and Maurice will have their own unscripted reality TV show on the USA Network soon and will be executive producers. Miz goes on and says Angle can prove he knows how to run his show by giving Miz another Intercontinental title shot against Roman Reigns at the 25th anniversary of Raw show. Angle makes the match. So we get one match for that show. It's in 2 weeks. Announces hype the mixed match challenge as we see how Asuka and Miz were revealed earlier in the day. Asuka's backstage warming up as Miz was shown backstage arriving in the arena, and he got out of the car and Asuka's there hugging him. But Asuka's backstage warming up in this segment, but she's interrupted by Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss, who warns her over comments made about Nia Jax. The Bar versus Titus Worldwide was up next. We go to the ring. Out comes the Bar. Back to commercial. Back for the break. Out comes Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews with Dana Brooke. Sheamus starts off with Titus as they go at it. Titus ends up flooring Sheamus with a big shoulder. Cruz tags in for some double teaming. Sheamus takes Cruz to the corner, and in comes Cesaro for double teaming. Cesaro unloads on Cruz and keeps him grounded. Cruz gets up and nails a dropkick. Cruz with a standing moonsault for a 2 count. Cruz ends up landing bad outside, selling an injury. Cesaro keeps Cruz down on the mat again. Cruz tried to get up and out, but Sheamus tags in for some more double teaming. Sheamus drops a big knee on Cruz and then covers for a 2 count. Dana cheers Cruz on as Sheamus keeps him grounded in the middle of the ring. Sheamus misses in the corner and hits the ring post. Titus tags back in and unloads on Cesaro, running him over in the middle of the ring. Titus shows off and wastes some time. Titus drops Cesaro and covers for a 2 count. The match falls apart, and Titus ends up rolling Sheamus up for the win. After the match, the bar can't believe what happened. Titus Worldwide celebrates as we go to replays. So the gun segment, the Beast is here. Back to commercial. Back for the break, we'll see what happened between Kane and Brock Lesnar from last week. We go to the ring. Out comes the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman. He does the usual introduction. My name is Paul Heyman. And the crowd trots along with him. He starts ranting about how Lesnar is defending against multiple challengers at the Royal Rumble. Heyman talks about what happened last week and says Lesnar took what Kane had and laughed in his face. The same way he will do at the Rumble with Kane and Braun Strowman. Heyman says the real question will be if Lesnar will pin Kane, if he will pin Strowman, or if he will stack them both for the pin. Heyman goes on about how dominant Lesnar is. Lesnar's music hits and Heyman drops the mic. They march up the ramp and Lesnar turns around to bounce around with the title. Kane attacks from behind. Kane beats on Lesnar and has him on the side of the stage. Lesnar fights back as the brawl goes into the backstage area. Strowman joins the fight now, tossing Lesnar onto a table. Braun picks up a road case and drives it into Kane, putting him down. Kane and Lesnar are both laid out. Braun grabs a grappling hook as people yell at him to stop. Braun throws a hook on top of a large scaffold, and everyone yells at him. Braun pulls the huge structure over, causing it to fall on top of Lesnar and Kane. Heyman screams out. We'll go to commercial. Back from the break, we see how Lesnar was stretched out during commercial break. Kane was able to get to his feet and stumble away. Lesnar begged Heyman to get him out of the ambulance, but they rode off to a local hospital. Samoa Joe versus Rhino. We go to the ring. Out comes Samoa Joe. Rhino was out next with Heath Slater. Storyline is that Rhino asked for this match to show Slater how to toughen up. We go to commercial. Back from the break, as they go at it, Joe with offense early on. Joe spikes Rhino for a pin attempt. Joe with an STO and an inverted atomic drop and senton for a pin attempt. Joe keeps control as Slater looks on and Joe taunts him. Rhino looks to make a comeback, but Joe drops him in the coquina clutch for the win. After the match, Joe stares at Slater and his music hits. We go to replays. Joe stands tall as Charlie Caruso enters the ring and asks about last week's loss to Roman Reigns. Joe says that was not a loss. He says Reigns' little win was simply a Pyrrhic victory. Joe goes on and says he's beaten years off of Reigns' career each time he steps into the ring with him. Joe says everything is tumbling down on Reigns, and when it does, Joe will be there to finish the job. But until then, Joe will pursue more worthy things. Joe will announce himself for the Royal Rumble match. Charlie asks about some of the other Rumble participants, and John Cena's name sets him off. Joe promises to eliminate Cena first. Alexa Bliss is backstage with Nia Jax, asking how Enzo Amore is doing. Nia says he's doing fine, but it's not like Bliss cares. Bliss talks about how she cares about Nia, Bliss talks about how she cares about Nia and says she's worried Enzo is holding Nia back. Nia says if anything, he motivates her and she wants to be a champion like him. She announces herself for the Royal Rumble match. Bliss tries to get Nia's anger focused on Asuka. Bliss brings a possible Nia versus Bliss WrestleMania 34 Dream match. If Nia can take out Asuka first before the Rumble, then win the match. Bliss won't tell Nia what Asuka said about her, but she finally gives in and whispers it to her. Nia asks if Bliss speaks Japanese because Asuka doesn't speak English. Jax walks off as we go back to commercial. Back from the break, out comes Asuka to the ring for a match. The Empress of Tomorrow is posing for her entrance when Nia Jax attacks from behind and lays her out, slamming her from the top to the mat. Nia keeps up the attack before standing tall as Asuka rolls around in pain. Referee checks on Asuka as Nia marches up the ramp. We go to replays. Nia stops and looks at Asuka before heading to the back. Asuka recovers and she doesn't look happy. And that's just hype the Royal Rumble card so far. We see superstars backstage preparing for tonight's main event. Back to commercial. Roman Reigns, Jason Jordan, and Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. Back from the break, out comes Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Finn Balor was out next. Raw Tag Team Champion Seth Rollins out first for his team, followed by partner Jason Jordan. WWE Intercontinental Champion Roman Reigns is out next. Balor starts off with Rollins as they lock up. Rollins and Balor trade holds. Rollins with a kick to the gut. They trade counters again. Balor hits a low drop kick for a 2 count. Anderson tags in, drops Rollins with a backbreaker for a 2 count. Anderson works over Rollins' arm now. Gallows tags in for the double teaming, but Rollins avoids it. Reigns tags himself in and hits a Samoan drop on Gallows. Balor comes in and unloads on both Shield members, but they drop him with a double shoulder. Rollins tosses Balor to the floor with his partners. Reigns with a drop by on Gallows and Anderson at the same time. Rollins runs the ropes and leaps out onto Balor to take him down. Rollins and Reigns stand tall in the ring as Jordan joins them to celebrate, acting like he just did something. Reigns and Rollins look at Jordan like he's crazy as we go back to commercial. Back from the break, and Balor has Rollins' body arm in the ring. Rollins counters and sends Balor face first into the turnbuckles. Reigns tags in and unloads on Balor with clotheslines. Reigns with a big shot in the corner. Now his fans count along. Reigns flattens Balor with a big kick to the face. Reigns calls for a Superman punch, but it has to knock Anderson and Gallows off the apron as they try to interfere. Balor takes advantage and hits a sling blade on Reigns. Anderson tags in and mounts Reigns with the right hand on the mat. Anderson gets a 2 count. Gallows comes in and works Reigns over, knocking him down in the corner. Gallows drops Reigns again and covers for a 2 count. Gallows keeps Reigns grounded. Now as fans try to rally, Reigns fights up and out with a big right hand, but Gallows yanks him back to the mat by his hair. Referee warns Gallows. Anderson comes back in and keeps Reigns down. Anderson drops a knee for a 2 count. Anderson keeps Reigns down as Jordan looks to tag in. Reigns catches Anderson in a big tip-to-world slam. Reigns and Anderson both cross to make tags. Gallows comes in and stops Reigns from tagging with a boot to the spine. Gallows ends up with a snap suplex for a 2 count. Gallows with elbows to the chest before keeping Reigns grounded. Reigns makes a comeback and hits Gallows with a Superman punch. Anderson and Rollins tag in at the same time. Rollins hits a springboard and unloads. Rollins knocks Balor and Gallows off the apron. Rollins with a blockbuster on Anderson. Rollins nails a big suicide dive on Balor and Gallows. Rollins comes back in with a sling blade and more offense on Anderson. Rollins with a suplex and a Falcon Arrow on Anderson for a close 2 count. Rollins keeps control of the match as Anderson reaches for a tag, but no one's there. Anderson avoids the knee. Gallows grabs Rollins from behind, but Rollins fights them both off. Jordan comes in and clotheslines Gallows to the floor. Rollins turns around to a spine buster and a close 2 count from Anderson. Jordan goes back to wait for his first tag of the match. Anderson grabs Rollins' leg, and then comes Gallows to stop Rollins. Gallows also knocks Jordan off the apron. Rollins with an enziguri on Gallows. Reigns is back on the apron now. Balor comes in, but Rollins blocks his sling blade. Rollins slams Balor to the mat. Reigns waits for the tag in as Rollins recovers. Jordan comes back on the apron and enters the ring. The referee doesn't see Reigns' tag and is distracted by Jordan. The chaos leads to Rollins eating a magic killer from Gallows and Anderson. Reigns drops them both. Jordan comes in and Reigns argues with him. Anderson pulls Reigns to the floor. Reigns fights Gallows and Anderson off. Again, Reigns sends Gallows into the ring post and hits a Superman punch on Anderson. Reigns spears Gallows on the floor. Jordan helps Rollins to his feet, but Balor charges with a drop kick, hitting Rollins, and as Jordan moved, Balor knocked Jordan back down to the floor and goes to the top. Balor nails a coup de grace on Rollins for the pinfall for the 1, 2, 3. Winner of the match, Balor Club. After the match, Balor, Anderson, and Gallows hit the ramp to celebrate. Well, my feed cut off right before the finish of that. And when I come back on, of course, the show is over. We go to replays. Reigns and Jordan have a few words while Rollins is down on the mat. Balor Club is all smiles on the stage. Jordan goes to check on Rollins. Miz, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel hit the ring area and attack Jordan and Rollins first. The triple team Reigns now. Miz nails a skull-crushing finale on Reigns in the middle of the ring. Miz goes to leave. A fan chant one more time at him. Miz drops Reigns with another skull-crushing finale as Dallas and Axel celebrate. Raw goes off the air with Miz standing tall over Reigns. And the dark match segment after last night's Raw ended saw Braun Strowman destroy Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, putting Axel through a table, and can be found at this link. Also what happened after Raw, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt both are now official for the Royal Rumble match. Post-Raw comments from Matt, who says the final deletion is coming soon. Well, they had that in TNA before they left. Final deletion. At Matt Hardy brand, the fast at WWE Universe is merely beginning to assimilate my hashtag Woken Universe, as you've only seen a scintilla. Once you earnestly sample a modicum, you shall find it positively intoxicating. And that concludes my results for Raw and WWE main event. See what I want to be. If you don't know, just comment, brothers and sisters.